All glory to the Ashram devotees. All glory to the Ashram devotees. To the glory of the devotee unity. Toda gloria a los devotos unidos. Para todos los centros premium. Para todos los siglos y gorando. All glory to siglos y gorando. Whoever is responsible for the Madranga, be responsible for it. Whoever puts anything on this card, it's at your own risk. The fathers, everybody, have a seat. Leave some space in front of the tree here for the drama. Move this back a little bit. Move this back. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Without dropping like this. At the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took a change in his Leela, what I mean to say is, for the first years of Mahaprabhu's stay here in Navadvip, he was acting as an all-conquering Pandit. As he went to Gaya, and on his return from Gaya, he had changed. He was telling to his intimate associates that he saw the most beautiful young boy, and now he doesn't see him any longer. And when he would talk of this experience of meeting Lord Krishna and then losing him again, he would cry and ultimately faint. So in this mood of searching for his beloved Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his kirtan movement, chanting the names of the Lord. And they the associates would all assemble in the courtyard of Srivas Thakur, lock the doors, and then have kirtan, starting with an evening arati and going throughout the night. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after some time, started to instruct his associates to do the same, to chant at their homes. And this chanting spread. As Jayapataka Maharaj has often said in the West, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, as many people as can sit on one brink of a door, that's about 5, when they are not so big in size, they should assemble daily and chant. This began to spread. It was the Bhakti Vriksha program, if you so want. The tree of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu grew and spread into the homes of the people of Nadia. And soon, the Muslim whole politician who was put by the Muslim central government in charge of this area took note. It was Chankatsi. Chankatsi would serve under the Nawab Hussain Shah, who ruled from the then capital of Bangladesh. Now this sitting together and chanting was seen as a war declaration of the Hindus, a rising revolt, so to say, against the Muslim rule. The Muslim rulers had planned to spread their influence by a gradual conversion of the Hindus into Muslims. For instance, this worked like this. They would take, a Muslim would take water from a water pitcher and just throw it on a Hindu. And because the Hindu society was organized according to the caste Brahmins, the rule was anyone who was touched by the water of a Muslim was ostracized. So this person had no society. A man without a country is a dead man, they say in materialistic philosophy, and so he went over to take shelter amongst the Muslims. Became more aggressive when they saw it was difficult to really capture all of Hindu society. They used to do things like breaking the limbs of the deity and then use the deity's limbs as weights in weighing meat. Grause, this historian, Mr. Grause, has said that actually the broken deities as a means of provocation by the government were used to weigh meat. In other words, what started quite, let us say, soft, sprinkling water and poison, polluting the wells of the villages with meat, was not seen successful. Of course, the strict Hindu caste society worked in the hands of the Muslim government by having these unreasonable rules of ostracization. What is the word, please? Ostracization. But soon Islam rule became more aggressive. When Shankasi heard that the religion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that was his idea, the religion of Hinduism was in the rise, breaking the walls and the chains of the Muslim rule. He was in a very difficult situation. He had to report to the Nawab Hussain Shah and ultimately be responsible for what was happening here. And therefore, in a first gesture of violence, he one day sent his people to such a small gathering where the devotees chanted Hare Krishna, and his people, and I think he was also there, they broke the Mridanga. This was only a sign. Please understand, this was not something, they used to do much more heavy things. It was a sign, if you don't stop, the breaking will start here. Everything will be broken. Be careful, stop this nonsense. The Bhaktas came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, this has happened. The first growling of the lion, the Muslim government has been heard. Ah! It was very soft, only Mridanga was broken. But what should we do? Soon a wave of violence will roll over us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided, let a wave over. the Muslims. He called for a movement of passive non-violence revolution. He called to his home all the devotees, and on his mere command, more than 100,000 people gathered. Prabhupada, he makes this point that look how influential Nimai Pandit was at that time. He just said, let us make a revolution against the Muslim government. This meant something. You have to understand, if you are in a revolution and you're running forward against an all-powerful regime, your hands will be broken and your legs might be broken. I still carry a wound on my body because I was in such a revolution in Germany, which was inflicted upon me by the government. We as young people didn't have a spiritual revolution, unfortunately. This was before Krishna consciousness. It's heavy to confront an all-powerful enemy, and you have to risk, you have to be ready to risk your life if you're doing that. So Nimai Pandit's word was so strong that despite the risk, 100,000 people were gathering. And now please hear how this kirtan took place. In the house of Srivas Thakur this evening, Lord Chaitanya sat down and Gadadhar Pandit decorated the beautiful body of the Lord. He bound the hair together, he put flowers into the hair, and he made the Lord ready for his first very, very ecstatic public appearance with a huge group, Sankirtan group. Lord Chaitanya had ordered that torchlights were put ready, and all the houses in Navadvip, many houses in Navadvip, put oil barrels before the door so that the torchlights of the passing Sankirtan movement would have enough nourishment, enough oil to burn very spectacular so that it had some optical effect. And then the Lord started the kirtan. In Chaitanya Bhagavat it is described, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to dance, his beautiful golden body looked like the embodiment of thousands of cupids or love gods. It looked so attractive. And as he led the kirtan with a lot of dancing, there was a tumultuous movement in the atmosphere. We will sing briefly, not long, just 2 mantras. And it became more and more temperamental, more and more intense as it approached the house of Chankasi. When he saw this huge procession winding like a snake on fire or a dragon on fire towards his house, he felt impressed and shocked. What is this? He sent his spies out, and they came back with the news. It's Nimai Pandit with an army of chanters. Our life is in danger. The Sankirtan procession moved forward and runs away. Oh, Nimai Pandit, that's Chankasi. You come in an unusual way. And then he immediately began to, he thought, I must pacify Nimai Pandit. He is superior and stronger with all his men. He said, you know, I am related with your Nilambara Chakravarti, your grandfather, and therefore I am actually your uncle. Since when does a nephew come to the house of the uncle in an angry mood? So they were joking peacefully. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to speak to the Chankasi. And you must know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a logician, but now he manifested the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to give love of Krishna to others. First he discussed on the strength of the Quran, convincing the Chankati that actually the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is something very useful and it can be found in the Quran. Kirtan in the streets of London, and every day the bobbies, this is the London Police Department, would capture us, put us into these cars which are meant for criminals. Paddy wagons. Oh, it's paddy wagons. You would sit there like a low-born criminal, and then we would come somewhere, and then there was a sergeant in the prison who said, you know what you're doing. You are not allowed to obstruct the traffic. And what are you doing? Singing and dancing. Again, the same thing. Pay the fine, and then you go out and stop. If we see you again on the streets of London, we will put you into prison. I remember at that time we wrote a letter to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, this is the situation. What should we do? Prabhupada's letter was very encouraging, but for a young bhakta like myself, I was trembling because I knew what revolutions of the street meant, the street fighting men and all this. He said, go out again, chant, one day we will break the obstruction of the police. In Paris the same thing happened. We always went out, we were a little afraid, but the police was, didn't do any rough things with us, only imprison us. And slowly and surely, we broke through the walls of the government. My dear devotees, on this sacred spot, please gather up your courage. When you chant Hare Krishna with the idea to please the Lord and to glorify the Lord will personally take care that your chanting endeavors will not go in vain. When there is an obstruction, you should throw your hands in the air with joyful abundance and say, it works, we are authorized. This is a good sign that there is some obstruction. Let us not be sunshine devotees who only practice Krishna consciousness when the external circumstances are pleasant. Let us be prepared to do some sacrifice for the Sankirtan movement, and we will surely please the Lord, who has promised to protect his devotees and to support his devotees. Sriman Chankasi ki Go Premanandi. Yes. The dear prompter has given one important point here. When Chankasi told his story, how he broke the Madanga, he all of a sudden started to bare his chest and showed on his chest the signs of an intense scratching of his chest. And then he explained, the night after I broke the Madanga drum, I had the most amazing dream. A lion came to me, jumped on my chest, and scratched my chest. Here are the signs. And the lion said, if you are ever going to stop my movement, then I will not only scratch your chest, I will kill you. And then this powerful lion looked at me and went away. Sri Nrsimhadeva ki! Sri Nrsimhadeva ki! Sri Nrsimhadeva ki! I remember when the German state became so heavy on us poor devotees, the police would imprison us, and sometimes Germans, this was not an isolated case, would fire guns at the devotees. So we wrote Prabhupada what to do. They're becoming so wild after this negative newspaper articles. The article was the God who eats money and hair. That was the first blasphemous article against the devotees, and the public opinion became so bad that whenever devotees turned up somewhere, they were not, their life was in danger. Actually, it became so, then a court case was made where nothing much happened except for a fine of 5,000 German marks for distributing without permission. But the people thought we were criminals, and they would often shoot at us. Imagine one time there was a devotee who was just offering prasad, and as he was bending down, 3 bullets just were chung, 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 hitting the wall over his head. If he would not have bowed down due to the ritual, the requirements of the offering ritual, he would have been shot. This was the situation at that time. And we wrote Prabhupada, what should we do? And he said, your struggle in Germany will be victorious, just like the struggle of Prahlad Maharaj was victorious by the mercy of Lord Nrsimhadev. So Lord Nrsimhadev, this is his movement also. I mean, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Nrsimhadev, Nrsimhadev is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So don't be afraid. If you feel some fear, chant good the Namaste Narasingha mantra. This always works. Yes, Vaishnavas, we are going to perform a part of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pastime, and this is going to be performed by I am Delhi and Chandigarh. Very good. And Chant Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare. It was tangled as Krishna. Oh, yes, I can hear it. I think it is the same in my group. They have started the Sankirtan once again. Let us go to school now. Move. Please dance. Please dance. No dancing. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Why you are dancing with them? You're not supposed to dance with them. Let's go right to Kali. Now, let's go. They are not stopping yet. What we can do? Okay, let's go to Kali.
So, what is the news?
What is the news? Oh Lord of Lords, oh Supreme Lord, oh King of Hearts, do you know what is happening yesterday?
What is happening?
Nimai started Kirtan again.
What?
Yes.
extent that they are now creating disturbance in the society.
Stop! Please do something, Master, please! Yes! I will do something! I am fed up with this Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. This makes my life terrible. Now I am going to stop this. And I will set up in my area. There will be no Hare now. I take this vow. Come on, go and stop it. Shanti, calm down.
I think they are Sunny my group.
They are making a beard with their youth and Kirtan party. Come on, Kazi. We are around. Nimai, what has happened to you? Why have you done this? Why have you stopped the Sankirtan? Why? You want to tell you to your grandfather in our chapter, please? It is a neighbor. My maternal uncle. If you does anything wrong, uncle told it. If uncle has done anything wrong, please told it. Mike! Uncle! Kazi, if you have done this thing, why have you done this thing? If I am your uncle, you should have not done this thing before. Is it one of the surahs in Quran that yes, I agree with you. Our Quran also says, in Kali, the Lord's name should be chanted. But this is not the way. You are dancing like monkeys and you are disturbing all the public. Our Quran says, Allah is everywhere. Allah is impersonal. Allah has no form. Allah has no form? Impersonal? What do you mean by that? He has no form. What do you mean by that? Allah has no form? Yes, he has no form. This is one of the surahs in Quran that goes like that. God sees. Yes, he sees. Then how can Allah see without an eye? There are another surah in Quran which says that God speaks. Yes, he speaks. Then how can Allah speak without a mouth? Then another goes like God hears. Yes, he hears. Then how can Allah hear without an ear? That means Allah has mouth, Allah has ears, Allah has eyes, Allah has a personal form. So it means I could not read Quran as it is. That's right. You haven't read Quran as it is. Your conception of reading Quran is wrong. And the Sankirtan movement is the only way to get liberation. This is a yoga dharma and we must perform Sankirtan movement.
I see. And after a long debate, Lord Chaitanya had convinced Chandkazi that about the absolute truth, and then Chandkazi begged for his mercy. Now my eyes are open. Now you have enlightened me, and now I want to share something very personal with you. The day I stopped the Sankirtan movement, I saw very strange things. I saw something very strange. It was, I don't know what it was. His face was like a lion. His body was like a human being. I know. And he rode on my chest. And he Jaya Jagadita Hare, Jagadita Hare, Jaya Jagadita Hare, Kesavadita Hare Rupa, Jagadita Hare, Jaya Jagadita Hare, Jaya Jagadita Hare. Holy Mike, now I fully assure you that my government will fully support this Hari Sankirtan movement. I say also that my government will never stop this Hari Sankirtan movement. Please give me shelter of your lotus feet. I know in your Vedas it is written that Narayana is the supreme personality of Godhead. That's right. And know that you are that Narayana. Please forget me. Please forget me. Now you perform the Sankirtan movement with the Hari Bol. Hari Hari! Hari Hari! Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And over again by various devotees, and of course display with the illustration of the message. And that message is by chanting the holy name of the Lord with great attention, with great devotion. One becomes empowered by the mercy of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. At one occasion, when Srila Prabhupada was asked, how do you feel when you chant Hare Krishna? Prabhupada said, I feel fearless. So we can understand that the holy name actually is Krishna himself. There's one verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which explains that fear personified actually is afraid of the holy names of the Lord, because Krishna's name is Krishna. Kali Kalaya Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar. Krishna has come in the form of his holy name. The Sankirtan movement is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to spread throughout the entire globe. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu down from the spiritual world. Goloka Premadana Harinam Sankirtan. This chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Harinam Sankirtan, is coming directly from the spiritual world. It is the activities of the denizens and the residents. I think we've been hearing that message continuously, that take shelter of the holy names of the Lord, chant the holy names of the Lord, perform Sankirtan wherever you are, in your temples, in your homes, in your, wherever you are. And by that chanting, by that devotional service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely pleased, and he bestows all mercy upon the living entities. I'll tell one story which really illustrates this is the Lord actually makes one fearless. In 1987, we were performing Sankirtan in one city in America. It was in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we had come to the city festival that was going on. There were many, many thousands of people there along the streets. It was a type of a bazaar. So we decided, it was about 20 devotees, to more or less become part of the festival with the Harinam Sankirtan. So we were chanting and going back and forth through the various streets. And after some time, some people became disturbed. So the police warned us, please stop. If you don't stop, we're going to have to do something. But the devotees continued to chant. And finally the police became so upset that they arrested us. We also had two deities, Gaur Nitai, with us during the Harinam. We were carrying Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And it was one lady, one Mataji, her name was Ladini. She was carrying her own personal deities of Gaur Nitai. So they wanted to arrest her. She said, well, if you arrest me, you have to arrest them too. So they said, okay. So Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda went to jail that night. So about half the devotees became arrested, and the next day, it was a weekend, so Monday we went to court, and we were standing before the judge. The judge was quite nice. He said, I think I'll let you all go if you promise not to do this activity again. So there was one sannyasi there. He said, yes, Your Honor, we promise we will not. This one lady, her Ladini, she was actually quite fearless. She said, we cannot do that because they have ordered us to afford this Harinam Sankirtan everywhere in the world. So we have to listen to them. She said that to the judge. The judge was completely silent. He didn't know what to say. He just let everybody go. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki order that no one should disturb the Harinam Sankirtan, but he also told his descendants that they should not disturb. And I met a descendant of his 13 generation about 10-15 years ago. He was also favored. Vivo was a hereditary position to be the pastor here, I guess so. They all support him. One thing was that they mentioned how Mahaprabhu has mentioned in the previous place that the devotees got arrested on the Kirtan at the Mardi Gras. That must have been before I was at GBC there from 1982 until about 2000, year 2000, 2001. And we would regularly do Harinam, and we never got arrested. We had real good relations with the police. So we learned how to deal with the police. They said to keep moving. We were moving. And then we entered into the parade. They have a parade, Mardi Gras parade, and there's 600,000 people dressed in crazy outfits. So we still do that there. The devotees do. The youth now put the float together, and the community members. And Jagannath goes on that float. So it's a kind of a float Rath Yatra. And these people, the custom there is they raise their hand and they say, throw me something, mister. So everybody's raising their hand and kind of waving like this, and there's Jagannath there. So we got little signs that say, sing Hare Krishna, shout Hare Krishna, and we'll throw you some. So people shout, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Then we throw them the things you're allowed to throw there. Incense, beads, whatnot. So somehow you see about 600,000 people raise their hands saying Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's really nice. In North America. It's one of my favorite festivals. So, because of Galananda Swami's austerity, going to jail and breaking that in austerity, now there's a 600,000 people chant Hare Krishna every year during Mardi Gras. So we're very thankful to all the devotees who have suffered, especially Soviet Union time. Our devotees went to jail. About 30 devotees were jailed. 2 devotees died in the visit. And they started glasnost and perestroika period. Then they were recognized as a religion. And now we have in our free Russia, and it's most of the CIS, we have many Hare Krishna devotees, thousands and hundreds of thousands of devotees. And here we have many coming to the Mayapur Parikram. I remember that when they arrived the first time from the Soviet Union in Calcutta. I was there, I was crying. I just was so happy to see our brothers and sisters coming here to India finally. When they came off the plane, they came to our bases right in the airport. And there were all these people taking photographs. The police said, no photographs. You know what I mean, no photographs. But it was such an emotional time. 50 rods, different people were there, we were there. But now, devotees can freely do Harina in Moscow and all over. They do Rath Yatras. So like this is our movement. We go through all these tests. And we hope that in the future the whole world will be free for publicly chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So now we're in the mood. The Chankasi just announced you're all free to chant, no more problems. So this is a great rejoicing. And in that rejoicing, we don't sing a kirtan, sing something, like fired up. And then everybody's rejoicing, really happy mood. And we're going now to Sridhar, Kolavishwa Sridhar's house. And we're taking a rest over there, because that's called the Vishrab Stan, after marching the whole night, after coming before the Chankasi, after, all kinds of different, challenging, and then after the Lordship Peace, cool everybody down, after the Shanti, Machan, Chankasi, and the Prema Lingala of Chankasi. Now they're rejoicing, and they're going to the house of Kolavishwa Sridhar, the dear devotee of the Lord, and they're going to be there in the banana orchard. And they're going to rest there. There's a big lake right there where they take a little dip and rest. And so let's go. And let's have some association of Kolavishwa Sridhar. And let's chant.
And experience the most intense moment of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. And thus in this way drowned both Sachimata and the Vishnu Priya in the ocean of Vipralampa, separation. And also something else I want to add, that is, we just got a message, that is just before, one day before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Vishnu Priya was a little bit suspicious, so she asked him, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reassured her that he won't leave. But anyway, let's say what's going to happen. Thank you.
Gopi! 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 It's not on. Gopi! 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 Gopi!
He has changed so much since his last trip to Gaya. He is acting very strangely. Oh, I have great doubt of his behavior. Maybe I should be honest that we should no longer attend his classes. He is gone completely dead. Oh, we're not attending his classes anymore. No more.
Krishna Prema.
He'll be here. We look for him here. Come, come.
Hey! Mama Santi, haven't you heard? Where is the man? Our Nimai has been sannyas!
Is that dude?
Yes!
Krishna Nimai!
No, I can't
Do you have my device? Please give it to me. Don't be unfaithful. Please give it. Give my device. Please give my device. Please give it to me. Please give it to me. I beg you all, please give it. Give it.
Very good.
After Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Mahaprabhu took sannyas, both Sachimata and Vishnu Priya were completely devastated. But then after some time, Lord Nityananda Prabhu misled Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Advaitacharya's house. In this way, Sachimata got another chance to meet love song Nimai. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Forgive me. I have left you. Don't have any desire.
Please don't go very far away from me, Nimai. Please don't go very far away from me.
I promise. I will stay for you. Then you always can hear about me. By Sri Radhika Devi.
It's going to Ram Sita Mandir. Dari Gupta Mandir. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuma. This is Murai original, this is Murai Gupta. Pobre el altar, ¿no?
And a little bit for Shiva's Angan. He already had a warm-up with Sita Ram's Mercy now, Hanuman. So if everybody can kind of down, Maitiye, Bosun, what else? Saditya, no, they're already done. Pachundi, Kuchundi, Jetsin.
Described that Murai Gupta was a few years older than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He attended the same school as Lord Chaitanya, Gandadas Pandit School. And he was in the class above Lord Chaitanya.
No way, no way.
So he's very important because he witnessed all of the childhood pastimes of Lord Chaitanya.
was worshipping in
And it's our good fortune that he had also recorded all of these different pastimes, and he had written the first biography on the pastimes of Chaitanya, which is the Chaitanya Charita. So his diary on the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very important because it was used by other commentaries later on who were to describe the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For example, Lochan Das in his Chaitanya Mangal, he gives a lot of credit to Murari Gupta in his notes. So Chaitanya Bhagavat describes how on one occasion Murari Gupta was walking with his friends and he was talking from the Yoga Shastras. And Nimai, or a young boy at that time, he was hearing Murari Gupta talk about the Yoga Shastras. He was not pleased. So he went home and he dressed himself up, just like Lord Krishna, decorated himself put on a yellow dhoti and beautiful pearl necklace and good kanja around his eyes, and decorated himself in many nice ways. Then he went to the home of Murari Gupta. And he came there when Murari Gupta was sitting there taking his lunch. So he walked into the home calling out, Murari Gupta, Murari Gupta. And he saw Murari Gupta sitting there with his meal in front of him. He came forward and he passed urine on his meal. So Murari Gupta jumped up. What kind of person is this? What kind of education do you have? You shameless young man. You are the son of a respectable Brahmana. I know your father, Jagannath Mishra. How you can behave like this? But Nimai was just simply dancing and clapping his hands and laughing and smiling. Then he began to preach to him. He told Murari Gupta that, why are you speaking about Yoga Shastra? Don't you know that it is devotion to Lord Krishna which is the goal of life? Any path other than bhakti is simply a waste of time, just simply futile endeavors. It is the omnipotent Supreme Lord Krishna who is our worshipable Lord. We should use our life for His service, not to glorify any other process or describe any other mundane activities. So Murari Gupta was stunned. Later on, he went, then he had some realization that Lord Chaitanya this child must be the Supreme Lord himself. And he went to the home of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi, and he was glorifying their child, that your child is such a wonderful child, he must be the Supreme Lord himself. But Jagannath Mishra and Sachi, they were, of course they were under the influence of Yoga Maya. They just thought, what has gone wrong with Murari Gupta? Why is he speaking in this crazy way?
No, when he went to say, your child is so wonderful, he is thus, and then immediately Lord Chaitanya started crying. He's only 2 years old, 2 or 3. He started crying, I want you to suck your milk, mommy! I'm hungry! And the whole they could never hear what Murari Gupta was going to say.
He completely absorbed in the Vatsalya Bhava.
Yes. Jagannath Mishra and Mother Sachi were so absorbed in the mood of Vatsalya Ras, they could not understand anything other than that Nimai is our child. We have to take care of him. Anyway, Murari Gupta, from then on, he had taken very careful trouble to observe all of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, and he became a great devotee. Of course, they would often argue and debate with each other. Murari Gupta was in a higher class, and Nimai was a younger student. but Nimai would challenge Murari Gupta, and Murari Gupta could never defeat him. And Nimai would change his opinion from one way to another. Whatever side he took, Murari Gupta was always unable to defeat him. But Murari Gupta was always, although he was actually born in a family of physicians, so he had that ability. He could get a little passionate sometimes, being a Vaishya. The physician means Vaishya family. That he could get sometimes passion with himself in relation to Nimai. So Chaitanya Bhagavad describes another pastime, an important pastime, that on one occasion Lord Chaitanya took the form, or rather he was calling out, "Boar! Boar!" And Murari Gupta was running. He said, "What is wrong? What are you talking about? Boar! Boar! I don't see any boar. Where's the boar?" Then Lord Chaitanya manifested himself in the form of Varaha, and he picked up a water pot, just as Lord Varaha picks up the earth planet. Lord Chaitanya picked up a water pot and began to reenact the pastime of Lord Chaitanya picking up the earth, Lord Varaha picking up the earth planet from the bottom of the Garbhodak ocean. And this way Murari Gupta was able to see how Lord Chaitanya was none other than the Supreme Lord. So he had great devotion for Lord Chaitanya. On one occasion Lord Chaitanya asked him that, "You know, Murari Gupta, you're a devotee of Lord Ram, but it is Krishna who is the Supreme Lord. It is Krishna who we should worship, not Ram. Why are you simply worshipping the Lord in his form of Ramachandra? Better you give up this worship and start to worship Radha and Krishna." So Murari Gupta that night went home, but the whole night he could not sleep. He had great devotion for Lord Chaitanya, and he wanted to follow the order of Lord Chaitanya, but he could not give up his devotion to Lord Rama. So the next morning he came to Nimai, to Lord Chaitanya's home, and he told him that, "I will have to give up my life. I cannot fulfill your order. You have asked me to do something, and I cannot do it. I will have to give up my life." So Lord Chaitanya was very pleased to hear this and said, "This is the real mode of devotion, that one should have that conviction, that if one cannot continue to worship the Lord in the manner which is the mood of his heart, it is better to give up one's life." So Lord Chaitanya was very pleased with this attitude of Murari Gupta and told him that you are actually none other than Hanuman, and you have appeared simply to take part in our pastime. So he was so happy with this humble mood of Murari Gupta. Another pastime involving Murari Gupta was on one occasion, because Murari Gupta was also there when Lord Chaitanya met Nityananda. So Murari Gupta would first of all come in and offer obeisances to Lord Chaitanya, and then go to Lord Nityananda and offer his obeisances.
One person tells
So Lord Chaitanya said, "This is not good. This is not the proper etiquette.
I told you.
You have committed offense." So that night Murari Gupta went home and he had a dream, and he saw that Krishna and Balaram were there, and he saw that these were none different from Chaitanya and Nityananda. And he understood that Balaram, just as Balaram is senior in age to Lord Krishna, similarly Lord Nityananda is senior to Lord Chaitanya. So the next day Murari Gupta came, and instead of going to Lord Chaitanya first, he went to Lord Nityananda first and offered his obeisances to Lord Nityananda, and then he came to Lord Chaitanya. So this was very pleasing to Lord Chaitanya. He was very happy to see this humility and this mood of surrender of Murari Gupta, that he could accept the order of Lord Chaitanya, and he had full faith also in him to take sannyas. Murari Gupta understood he could never dissuade the Lord from his plan. But every year, Murari Gupta would go with the devotees to Jagannath Puri and visit the Lord there in Jagannath Puri and enjoy the association. We will
Time's over.
was Astakam that he wrote in Sri Krishna Chaitanya Charitra Mahakavi called Ramastakam. And when he spoke this Ramastakam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to recite that Astakam, which he did. And when he did so, at the end of it, Lord Chaitanya laughed and wrote Ramadas on his forehead. Hare Krishna.
We thank H.H. B.B.B. Nrsimha Maharaj for telling us some Marai Gupta pastimes. Now His Holiness Pravananda Maharaj will also speak. Vanjana Sakaya Chakura Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
He's like 40 years older at least.
So Lord Ramachandra had a very special devotee named Hanuman. So Hanuman is very beloved throughout all of India because of his special devotion that he exhibited. One time Hanuman was, during the battle, Hanuman was very famous because both Indrajit as well as Ravana at two different occasions had, with their weapons, knocked both Lakshman and Lord Ramachandra unconscious. And no one knew actually how to save them except for Jambavan. He had some knowledge of herbs, and he mentioned that in the Himalayan mountains there is some herbs, and that if Hanuman could go there, he'd be able to find those herbs, and that would actually save Lakshman and Lord Ramachandra. So Hanuman was very powerful, being the son of the wind god Vayu. Immediately jumped into the air and flew over to the Himalayan mountains. Unfortunately, the Himalayan mountains were trying to protect the herbs, and therefore the herbs became invisible. So Hanuman, as you all know, picked up the herbs, they hauled the herbs on it, and flew back to where Lord Ramachandra and Lakshman were, and the herbs revived them. Because of this pious activity of Hanuman bringing herbs, and in the next lifetime he was born as a doctor. And was able to take part in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya as a doctor. Just like Lord Chaitanya, one time he was walking in Navadvip, and he was accepting donations from so many different persons. From the florist, he was accepting garlands of flowers. From the pan maker, he was accepting pan. From the jewelers, he was accepting different ornaments. And finally, he came to one astrologer. So he asked the astrologer, "My dear astrologer, I know you are very learned. Who was I in my previous life?" So the astrologer began to meditate, and in his meditation, he saw a fish, then he saw this gigantic tortoise, he saw a boar, he saw Lord Ramachandra, along with all that. So he said, "Well, I'm sorry, I can't figure out who you were because I can't concentrate right now. Why don't you come back later and maybe I can figure it out?" He said, no, just think a little more carefully. I'm sure it'll be revealed to you. So again, he began to concentrate. He saw this man killing millions of people with this axe. And he said, "Wow, who is this person anyhow?" And he was concentrating. He saw someone playing on a flute. He said, "I know who you are." And the Mahaprabhu said, "No, you got it all wrong. I know who I was in my past lifetime. In my past lifetime, I was a cowherd boy. And because of my pious activity of herding cows, in this lifetime I've become a Brahmin." So the astrologer said, oh, that's pretty good. So Hanuman, he was so powerful that when they were sent to the southern part towards Sri Lanka in order to find out where Sita is, finally they arrived at the spot, and of course we know that they were all fasting to death because they couldn't find her. There was Anga was there, and Jambavan, and they were all about to fast to death because they figured we were very late. We were supposed to come back in a month, but we're not here yet. We couldn't find Sita, and if we go back now, then Sugriva will be very angry with us, and he'll have us all killed. Better sit here and fast to death. Do something that will save our honor. So at that time there was one eagle sitting there, and he's thinking, oh, by God's grace, all these monkeys have come. They're about to fast to death. Finally, I get something to eat, because right now I have no wings. This was none other than the brother of Sampati, or it was Sampati, the brother of Jatayu. So at this time, all the monkeys, they were glorifying Lord Ramachandra in his pastimes, explaining how Sita and Ram and Lakshman had come into the forest, being vanquished, banished by their father. And while in the forest, they were, one golden deer had come and had allured Lord Ramachandra away, and therefore Lord Ramachandra went hunting after the deer, and Lakshman, being chastised by Sita Devi, had run after to save Lord Ramachandra. And this time Ravana appeared and kidnapped Sita Devi. And while he was flying away on his chariot with mules as the horses, Jatayu flew to save Sita Devi from the hands of Ravana. And there was a ferocious fight between Ravana and Jatayu, and finally Jatayu's wings and his beaks were cut off, and he fell to the ground and died. So when Sampati heard this, he said, that was my brother, that the Lord Ramachandra had a devotee named who was my brother, therefore how can I kill these monkeys? So he came down, he wanted to hear more about the pastimes of his brother, and he explained to the monkeys how one day he and his brother were flying up to the sun. They were having a contest, and they were going so high that at this time the rays of the sun was so hot it was about to melt the wings of his brother, so he flew ahead of his brother and his wings were melted and he fell to the ground on this particular spot. And now he was wingless and he was hungry. But he had heard that after he had met the monkeys, that at this time his wings would sprout again and he would be able to regain his original position. So the monkeys asked him, he said, that's very nice that you're going to get your wings back, but please tell us, because you're an eagle, you can see very far, please tell us where Sita is. So he said, actually I know where Sita is. I saw Ravana carrying Sita, and now I can see with my eyes that she's on this place of Sri Lanka. And she's sitting there. So at this time his wings sprouted again, and he flew off into the distance. But all the monkeys, they wanted to find out, they wanted to personally go and meet Sita and give her assurance that Lord Ramachandra would come and save her. So all the monkeys, therefore, Angada, he asked all the monkeys there who can jump 800 yojanas. So Jambavan said, well, when I was younger, a few 100 billion years ago, I could just easily circle the earth 3 times, but now I'm a little old, so I don't know if I can do it. And then he asked the other monkeys, and they all said, well, I can jump 100 yojanas, someone else said 500 yojanas, someone else said 700 yojanas. And Dvivida, he said, I could probably jump 800 yojanas, but I don't know if I can jump back. So everyone had mentioned how far they could jump, but no one mentioned that they could jump 800 yojanas and then jump back. And then Jambavan said, I know who can do it. Hanuman, he can do it. Hanuman said, I can do it? Sure you can do it. The problem is you've forgotten your power. Because Hanuman previously, when he was very young, he was very frivolous. And one day he jumped up towards the sun because he saw this big yellow orange fruit in the sky, and he decided to jump up and eat it. Because he was a monkey and he was hungry, so eat the big yellow fruit. So he was jumping towards the sun became a little frightened that here Hanuman's coming, he's going to eat me. Therefore Indra sent his thunderbolt and hit Hanuman on the jaw and knocked him unconscious onto the ground. So his father, Vayu, became very angry and he stopped all the wind in the universe. And of course, if you stop all the wind, no one can breathe, no one can pass urine or stool. It was very uncomfortable. So all the demigods said, wait a second, we're sorry, we didn't mean to hit Hanuman. What can we do? So they decided to give Hanuman all kinds of benedictions. So Hanuman became very powerful. Unfortunately, because he had done some frivolous activities, one sage one time cursed him that although you're so powerful, you have so many abilities, but I curse you that you'll forget all these abilities that you have them. So Hanuman forgot all his powers, practically speaking, but now Dambavan had reminded him, and in the service of Ram, he now remembered, yes, I can jump the 800 yojanas and I can come back. So of course we all know that Hanuman climbed onto the top of the mountain, expanded his body into a huge, gigantic form, almost the size of the mountain, jumped off the mountain, and half the mountain went with him. He was so powerful, his jump was so powerful that half the mountain, along with all the tigers and lions and deer and birds and snakes, they all came with him. And they kept on journeying and journeying and journeying, and now Madhava Maharaj will tell us the rest of the story. For some demon tried to block Hanuman, what's that?
This is called the change-up. The change-up. I got a lot of signals. Can I take it out of my paper?
While Hanuman was going across the ocean, one mountain came from the bottom of the ocean.
Louder, louder!
One mountain came from the ocean to offer Hanuman some service. Said, Hanuman, please take rest here. Hanuman just offered his obeisances and touched the mountain and then went on. It was explained that he was so fixed in his service to Ram that he didn't think about his own personal comfort. As he was going on, one huge female Rakshashi came from the bottom of the ocean. She had this benediction given by, I believe it was Lord Brahma, that no one could pass her unless they entered into her mouth. So she came, she was a huge Rakshashi. She said, ah, monkey, now it is time for lunch. So she opened her mouth wide. Next explained that she opened her mouth about 10 yojanas wide. But Hanuman, he had so many powers that he used his power to expand even wider than her mouth. So he opened his mouth, he expanded his size to 20 yojanas. And she opened her mouth to 30 yojanas. And he expanded to 40 yojanas. And she opened to 50. And Hanuman went to 60. She went 70. Hanuman went 80. She went 90. And Hanuman shrunk down to a small little sized monkey. He went in her mouth and came out and said, I have fulfilled the benediction. She said that as he was going on, there was another Rakshashi. She appeared from the ocean, and she also said, ah, monkey. So she opened her mouth to capture Hanuman. Hanuman expanded, and the same scenario went on. Finally, she opened really wide, and Hanuman went into her mouth and went down her body, and then ripped his mission for Lord Ramachandra by arriving. We're going to have the strings always serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just like Hanuman always served Lord Ram. And today we have a message from His Grace
Samika Rishi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Neelambar Shyamala Komalangam Sita Samarupita Vama Bhagam Pano Mahashayaka Charu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Sri Sri Sita Ram Lakshan Bhakta Hanuman Ki Jai. So I will give you a couple pastimes. Prabhu Charitra Suni Beko Rasiya Rama Lakshana Sita Mana Vashiya. So Hanumanji is always eager to hear the pastimes of the Lord. And he always kept Lord Ram, Lakshmana and Hanuman in his heart. One time, Mother Sita offered, after the conquering the Ravan, offered a very expensive like diamonds garland, and Hanuman, thinking that unless there is my Lord Ram or Sita is there, I cannot accept it. She was biting each one of those pearls, and he did not see any, and he threw all of them. So then Sita Mata asked, why did you throw this pearl necklace? Then he said it because I did not see any my Lord Ram and Sita in those pearls. So he was biting and throwing. Then he says that is he in your heart, and showed that Sita and Ram is in his heart. So one time Murari Gupta, he was disgusted and he kept a large knife to kill himself at night time. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew that, so he came at night time to his house and he said that give me that knife back. Your body is meant to serve me. You are my das. So he accepted that way, and then he gave up that knife and he gave the desire to kill himself. So that way our body, what is there, is meant to serve the Lord. This is not meant to enjoy the material life, because one can never be happy in material life by any kind of material enjoyment. Only in connection with the Lord we can be happy, and Hanumanji showed by his life. An example is in the Dasya Bhav, in Bhagavatamrita also it is given that who received the most mercy of the Lord, and it is described that Narad Muni, he went from Indralok to Shivalok to Vaikuntha Lok to find who is the recipient of the mercy of the Lord. Then he was sent by Lord Shiva that you go to Ayodhya. And when he went to Ayodhya and found Lord Hanuman in serving the Lord, so his mood was always how I could find some kind of service to the Lord. One time, just a small example, like everybody received some services, but Hanumanji did not receive any service of the Lord. So because all the ministers and everybody took some service, so he said that give me some service. So ultimately they said that all the services are taken, at least if the Lord has some like Jambai, when he's yarning, you could just click your what you call finger. Yeah. So in this yarning all the time, so Hanuman could be near him and could click his thumb and the finger and the index finger. So like that, Lord Ramchandra was always very, very kind and merciful to Hanuman, and Hanumanji was always looking for any kind of service that Lord could provide.